Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
You guys have any plans this weekend?
Tomorrow is one of my favorite days. I go with a friend to a show called the Southern Women's Show.
Yeah.
It's like a big not trade show, but like they just have a bunch of booths with different companies there, and they give away free stuff, and you can sample different things and you can shop, and
Ooh.
it's like my girly day of the year.
That's awesome. So it comes around once a year?
And it's at like a big it's called the Music City Center. It's downtown in Nashville, and it's like a I can't even think of what it's called, like a convention center kind of
Okay.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's fun. We have fun.
That's great. How far away is Nashville from you?
It's just about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real easy to get into downtown. This is one of the easiest cities like in the world, well, in the country, not in the world.
That's awesome. I would love to go there someday.
It's super fun.
That's my daughter's best friend moved to Nashville because she ended up getting a job there too, but her husband, they're both RNs. So he got the position first. And so they're really originally from Colorado, but they moved to Nashville or around there. I'll have to find out exactly what city it is, but it's close to there. So they love it. And I'll have to find out exactly what city they live in or town.
Do you know what hospital they?
You know what? I'll find out. I'll ask her.
Oh, my cousin's a nurse, but she just moved, but she worked at where did she? Centennial for a while.
You know what? Let me I'll send her a text right now, and that way when we're doing class, she will probably respond back, and and then I'll tell you. It's her very best friend, and Brooklyn wants to go there and check it out. So let me see here. I'll ask her. What hospital and city? Yeah, they love it.
How long have they been here?
Only about, I would say, 1.5 years.
Oh, okay. They probably wouldn't know my cousin then, but yeah, it's great. It's changed so much since I moved here 6 years ago. It's like grown so much. I mean, some areas of downtown you wouldn't even recognize anymore from when I moved here, because they've built up like condos and stuff like that downtown with different flats they have. Like there's a lot of cool places downtown. It's neat.
Well, and they were saying too, they were able to buy a house, and it was, because they used to live in California. So they were saying at a fraction of what it would cost here.
Oh yeah. You could sell your house and move here and live like a king. Probably.
Gosh. See, that it used to be like that in Oregon when we first moved there. We, owned a house here, and then we moved there. The prices, and really, it was relative to what we made, but now it's like, I want to say the house that we owned up there has doubled in what it's worth now. It's almost, the prices are, well, this is Bend. I'm not sure about Portland, but it's almost the same price as Southern California. And it's kind of sad because, well, I think what happened was a lot of people from here were moving there, which made the prices go up. And
that's exactly what's happening here. A lot of people are moving here and the prices are going up. So it's still like a lot less than California now, but it's definitely getting more comparable to certain areas of California. But like when I moved here, a house that was going for like $150, which is like unheard of almost in California, it's now maybe going for like I don't know, 225 maybe. So, and that's just in like 5 years. So, you know,
It's gone up. Yeah.
it's gone up.
Where I guess if you own your house, then that's good because you're going to get equity. But I know I was talking to my uncle, he's a realtor in San Diego, and he was telling me that you can't even get, I mean, a shack for anything less than 600,000 or anything. Yeah. 600,000 is going to be the starting. And that, he said, that's for a rundown, tiny little 2-bedroom, you know, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I was just looking because I'm always looking because, you know, my family's in California and I was looking in the Ventura County area and I'm like, well, I told my husband, I'm like, this is what we're going to get. So
Yeah.
just be prepared, you know,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I don't know. Everything has its trade-offs, I
yeah,
guess.
that's
So
true. That's true. So, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and get
anyways,
started. All right.
okay.
Here we go. Okay. So, common words. This says from the library: able, free, public, delicate, possible, acid, frequent, quick, dependent, present, angry, full, quiet, different, private, automatic, future, ready, dirty, probable, awake, general, red, dry, sudden, bad, good, regular, early, sweet, beautiful, gray, responsible, elastic, tall, bent, great, right, electric, thick, poison, seat, summer, work, polish, secretary, support, wound, porter, selection, surprise, writing, position, self, swim, year, bent, bitter, green, rough, equal, thin, black, hang, round, false, tight, blue, happy, sad, fat, tired, boiling, hard, safe, feeble, true, bright, healthy, same, female, violent, broken, high, second, fertile, waiting, brown, hollow, secret, first, warm, certain, ill, separate, fixed, wet, cheap, important, serious, flat, white, chemical, kind, sharp, foolish, wide, chief, last, short, mixed, wise, clean, late, shut, narrow, wrong, clear, left, simple, natural, yellow, cold, like, slow, necessary, young, common, living, small, new, complete, long, smooth, normal, complex, loose, soft, old, conscious, loud, solid, open, cruel, low, special, opposite, cut, male, sticky, parallel, dark, married, stiff, past, dead, material, straight, physical, dear, medical, strange, political, deep, military, strong, poor. All right. Let's do some Tangle Tamers. Here we go. More likely so than not so, performance of your duty, benefit of doubt, establish such proof, the jury is satisfied, verdict of acquittal, fair and just verdict, guilty of negligence, based solely upon, burden to establish, reasonable, careful person, in this regard, instructions of the law, common law negligence, direct unbroken sequence, duties of citizenship, rule on admissibility, admission of fact, physical evidence, arguments of counsel, contributory negligent, innocent until proven guilty, exclude from consideration, reaching your verdict. All right, let's do some consonant compounds. These are initial consonants Sm. Here we go. He called it a small smack. She gave him a smack on the head. It was a small smack, but it smarted. Smalt is not a smart color. The smart people ate the smelt. Smell the Smithfield ham. Smile, you're on candid camera. He smeared her reputation with a smirch. Smith and Smythe were blacksmiths. They were smitten by her smile. She wore a smock when smoking. The smog was caused by smoke. Smokers make some people smolder. He was known as a smooth smoocher. Smorgasbord means a lot of food. They were smashed to the smithereens. Smother those who would smite you. There was a smudge on the smuggler. Will you try to smuggle it in? The book was full of smut. All right. Let's do some email addresses. Here we go. PayPal.com, Blogspot.com, www.tumblr.com, www.stackoverflow.com, www.naver.com, www.aliexpress.com, ok.ru.org, www.apple.com, gifttub.com, chinadaily.com.cn, www.imbd.com, www.datehookup.com, seniorpeoplemeet.com, www.fc2.com, www.jingdongmall.com, www.blogger.com, 163.com, chemistry.com, www.blackpeople.meet.com, www.whatsapp.com. So I didn't do the www in all of them because sometimes people leave that out. A lot of times they do. All right. This is going to be a drill focusing on inform, information, forward, and forward. Here we go. For that, informed him, her forward it, informing us. For this, informed her, my forward them, informing them, for them, informed us, his forward that, informing him, for us, inform us, the information, inform her, this information, for me, inform me, any information, inform them, that information, for him, inform him, all information, inform you, your information. For now it is fine. Is this for grace? Please do it for me. The court has been informed. Send us the information. I am informing my client. Use your information. A forward would be good. I am informing you. Inform us promptly. Please inform us. Where is the information? Have you forwarded it yet? Inform me today. Be sure to keep me informed. Ask for the information. Throw a forward pass. We were so informed. Who is informing you? We informed the judge. Get the information. The information isn't right. I have been informed about it. The information is for me. Were you informed? Buy me a new forward. It's all for you. I was not informed. Make an informed decision. The paper informs you. Did you forward that? Who has the information? Sell your old Ford. Forward my mail. Forward the information. I can't inform them. All right. These are doublets. Here we go. Cotton socks, modeling agency, karate instructor, index cards, ledger sheets, adhesive tape, ice cream cone, recreational vehicle, litter bag, barbecue grill, cooking utensils, singing telegram, vacuum relay, insect repellent, hair ornament, veterinary hospital, pharmaceutical lab, stock exchange, diaper service, welding torch, diving mask, fire extinguisher, prosthetic device, mechanical pencil, short duration, microwave oven, lithographic plate, lottery ticket, peanut butter, profit margin, postage meter, foreign exchange, geological survey, seed catalog, sheepskin rug, plaster cast, exotic food, textile mills, Venetian blinds, acupuncture clinic, brokerage house, leather belt, video recorder, beverage cooler, bridal shower, drug rehabilitation, shop apron, suede jacket, acoustical tile, contact lenses, energy conservation, upholstery cleaner, stereophonic sounds, Polaroid camera, knitting needles, ornamental iron, chemical waste, embalming fluid, theatrical makeup, paint removal. All right. This is a continuation of different types of drinks. What do they say here? Carbonated drinks, brands, and manufacturers. We've been working on those. Okay, all right, here we go. Hawaiian Punch, Nectar, Snapple, Soda Stream, Treetop, Trendy Pops, Tizer Fruits, Topsia Cola, Softa, Solo, Socio, Sport Cola, Sprite, Tropicana, Twizzler Soda, Twist Up, Sprite Zero, Squirt, Stewart's Fountain Classics, Strawberry Fanta, Sunkissed, Sunny Delight, T&T Jazz Berry Alternative Fruit Mix Drink, Tab Clear, Take One Chocolate Instantly, Typhoon, Unibev Jelly Juice, Vault Red Blitz, Verner's, Vimto, Virgin Vanilla Cola, Vital Raspberry, Volvic Revive, Volvic Splash, Yazoo Chill, Yahoo, Yorkshire Tea, Tango Clear, Tetley, Thirst Cola, Thumbs Up, and Tizer It's Red Coolers. I haven't heard of half of those. All right. Go ahead and move into literary. Oh, before we do that, I have a poem for you. Oh, I forgot to do your common phrases. Let me do these real quick. Common phrases. Here we go. With regard, with regards, with respect, with the, in other words, in your own words, would be, would believe, would feel, would have believed, would have been, would have had, would have recalled, would have recollected, would have remembered, would recall, would relect, would remember, would recollect, would want, I would, if you would, it would, she would, that he would, that I would, that you would, there would, they would, this would, what he would, what I would, what you would, when I would, when you would, where he would, where I would, where you would, whether he would, whether I would, whether or not he would, whether or not I would, whether or not you would, whether you would, which he would, which would. Some of those are tangle twisters. All right, let's do our poem. And you might have heard this in the mid speeds, but it's okay. It's good practice. It's going to be at a faster speed. I'm going to read this at 200, okay? It's called The Snowman. Here we go. 200. 'Twas the first day of the springtime, and the snowman stood alone as the winter snows were melting and the pine tree seemed to groan. Ah, you poor sad smiling snowman, you'll be melted by and by, said the snowman. What a pity, for I'd like to see July. Yes, I'd like to see July, and please don't ask me why, but I'd like to, yes, I'd like to, oh, I'd like to see July. Chirped a robin just arriving, seasons come and seasons go, and the greatest ice must crumble when it's flowers' time to grow. And as one thing is beginning, so another thing must die, and there's never been a snowman who has ever seen July. No, they never see July, no matter how they try. No, they never, ever, never, ever, never, ever see July. But the snowman sniffed his carrot nose and said, at least I'll try. And he bravely smiled his frosty smile and blinked his coal black eyes. And there he stood and faced the sun, a blazing from the sky. And I really cannot tell you if he ever saw July. Did he ever see July? You can guess as well as I, if he ever, if he never, if he ever saw July. Cute. And that was at 200. It's a lot easier to read poems at higher speeds. It's kind of interesting. It's harder actually with lower speeds because of I think the rhyming part of it. So, all right, let's go ahead and do some literary. All right. I'm going to read, I'll start this at 180, but I'm going to work my way to 225, okay? I'm not going to spend very much time reading at 180. Okay, here we go. The problem is to determine if the special circumstances referred to by Mr. Chance is true. Was murder perpetrated by an electronically constructed device, bomb, or explosive unit? We must determine and prove that the murder was committed by means of a destructive device, a bomb, or an explosive mechanism. For purposes of definition, a destructive device includes any of the following weapons. 1, any type of projectile containing explosive or incendiary material or any other chemical substances, which are commonly known as incendiary ammunition, except tracer ammunition manufactured for use in shotguns. 2, any bomb, grenade, explosive missile or missile device, or any device used for launching. 3, any type of weapon of a caliber greater than a .50 caliber, which fires standard ammunition other than a shotgun. 4, any rocket, rocket-propelled projectile, or other device of a diameter greater than 80 of an inch or 0.80 of an inch, and any rocket, rocket-propelled projectile, or other device which contains explosives or incendiary materials, or any other kind of chemical substances. 5, any breakable containers which contains a flammable liquid with a quick flash point of 160 degrees capable of being ignited. For the purposes of clarification, I will define a bomb. A bomb is any device that carries with it an explosive charge designed to detonate under specific conditions. These conditions include point of impact, a timing mechanism, or merely setting in a position at a given point with variable effects. An explosive means any substance or a combination of substances with the primary purpose or goal of a detonation or rapid combustion. An explosive is capable of a relatively instantaneous or rapid release of gas and heat, the primary purpose of which, when combined with others, is to perform a combustible substance. The term explosive includes nitroglycerin, dynamite, black powder, gunpowder, and smokeless powder, as well as other more elaborate and sophisticated chemical compositions. Was it a destructive device, a bomb, an explosive? We will need to evaluate all of the evidence that was gathered at the scene of the crime at 18403 West Harding Boulevard in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We must determine if a device was planted, hidden, or concealed. We must determine if the evidence was in the structure, in the adjacent building, in the parking lot. Another alternative that we are looking at is the possibility of the device being mailed to this address. Someone knew of these acts, which were a potential threat to human lives. All right. Yes.
Sorry, how fast did you say that was?
I got up to 225. I started at 180, then I went to 200, and then I got to 225.
Okay.
Feel.
That was hard for me.
I'm sure it was very hard. It was tough for me to keep at that speed. So that tells me there's a lot of multisyllabic words. Yeah. So I got to 225.
Okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember if you said you were getting up there or if you stayed at 180, and I was like, is this 180? It felt really fast. So I was
Yep.
just curious.
I started at 180 and I wasn't there for very long. Then I got to 200 and then I went to 225. Yep. So I'm going to read another literary for you. Okay.
Okay.
I'll do this one. I'm going to start at 200 because it's not as long. I'll work my way to 225. All right. Here we go. Mr. Speaker, last Tuesday, oh, I forgot to mute you. Sorry. Here we go. Mr. Speaker, last Tuesday at the age of 89, one of our former colleagues who was a strong and determined man passed away. Calvin Theodore Ted Hawthorne of Seattle, Washington, will be long remembered in these chambers. Ted served as a member of the House of Representatives for more than a quarter of a century. He presided as chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. He introduced progressive civil rights legislation. He supported the Equal Rights Amendment, and he worked closely with the governor of the state of Washington to protect the coastal environment. When I first came to the House, Ted was one of the first persons that I ever met. He encouraged me to speak out on the issues that made my blood boil. He enlisted my advice and aid on several of his pet projects. He wasn't content to sit and watch. He was progressive, yet a good listener. Ted Hawthorne never lost his zest for living. After his retirement from the House in 2007, his political life did not stop. Ted ran for the office of City Council member of Seattle. Although he was defeated on election night, he offered his full services to the victor. Since Ted's passing, I have realized how important it is to recognize the special needs of all of the groups. Sometimes we are so caught up in our own problems and strategies that we overlook the needs of others whose attention is merited. Indeed, we will miss Calvin Theodore Hawthorne, but we will remember his contributions to the state of Washington and to the American people. On behalf of the members of the state of Washington delegation, I would like to extend our sincere sympathy to the family of Calvin Theodore Hawthorne. Okay, now we're going to do some closing statements. All right, here we go. And I'm just going to read this at 200. Okay. Actually, I'll start at 200 and work my way to 225. Okay, here we go. The court is going to instruct you that to reduce an intentional felonious homicide from the offense of murder to manslaughter upon the grounds of sudden quarrel or heat of passion, the provocation must be of such character and degree as would naturally excite and arouse passion. The term heat of passion is defined for you as follows: such passion as naturally would be aroused in the mind of an ordinarily reasonable person of average disposition in the same or similar circumstances as those in question, and such as would cause him to act rashly without reflection and deliberation and from passion rather than from judgment. What that instruction means is that the defendant cannot set up his own standard. If he is a quick-tempered person and there is some form of provocation that leads him to believe that self-defense is necessary, it is not his standard that we judge it by. We judge it by what an ordinarily reasonable person would do in the same situation. The court will tell you that if there was such a provocation that was of a nature not calculated to naturally arouse such passion, if an unlawful killing of a human being follows such a provocation and has all of these same elements of murder, then the mere fact of slight or remote provocation will not reduce the offense to manslaughter. What was argued to you was that Oscar Mullen reached for the knife and suddenly he felt threatened by it. This is provocation on the part of Bruce Nixon, and because of Oscar Mullen's reaction to this, there is a sudden quarrel. A heat of passion takes over. Mullen didn't premeditate and deliberate. He cannot be guilty of murder. Therefore, Harley Bennett cannot be guilty of murder as an aider and abetter under these theories. It is our contention that obviously there was no heat of passion. There may have been a distant element of fear in the mind of Oscar Mullen, but that is covered by the next instruction. Neither the emotion of fear or of itself, nor the emotion or for revenge of itself towards the others constitute the heat of passion referred to in the law. You can have a combination of all of them, and you can have that or any one of them, but the court tells you that any one or more of them, meaning fear or revenge, may exist in the minds of another person who acts deliberately. Okay. I have one more for you. This is admission of evidence. I'm going to read this at 2:25. All right, here we go. Prosecutions for conspiracy can present difficulties and temptations familiar to anyone with experience as a federal prosecutor. The difficulties derive from observance of the rules governing the evidence admissible against some, but not all, defendants in a criminal case. The temptations derive from the advantages of prosecuting in one trial, two or more persons collaborating in a criminal enterprise. One of the most recurring of the difficulties pertains to the incriminating declarations by one or more of the defendants that are not admissible against the others. The dilemma is usually resolved by admitting such evidence against the declarant, but cautioning the jury against its use in determining the guilt of the others. The fact of the matter is that too often such admonition against misuse is intrinsically ineffective, and that the effect of such a non-admissible declaration cannot be wiped from the brains of the jurors. The admonition, therefore, becomes a futile collocation of the words and fails of its purpose as a legal protection to defendants against whom such a declaration should not tell. While enforcing the rule of admitting the declaration solely against the declarant and admonishing the jury not to consider it against the other defendants, Judge Hand, in a series of cases, has recognized the psychological feat that this situation of the dilemma demands of juries. He thus stated the problem, quote, in effect, however, the rule probably furthers rather than impedes the search for truth, and this perhaps excuses the device, which satisfies form while it violates the substance, that it is the recommendation to the jury of a mental gymnastic which is beyond not only to their powers, but anybody else's, end quote. It may well be that where such a declaration only glancingly, as it were, affects a co-defendant who cannot be charged with the admitted declaration, the rule enforced by the court in this case does little to harm not to leave its application to the discretion of the trial judge. But where the conspirator's statement is so damning to another against whom it is inadmissible, as is true in this case, the difficulty of introducing it against the declarant without inevitable harm to a co-conspirator, the petitioner in this case, is no justification for causing such harm. The government should not have the windfall of having the jury be influenced by evidence against a defendant which, as a matter of law, they should not consider, but which they cannot put out of their minds. After all, the prosecution could use the confession against the confessor and at the same time avoid such weighty unfairness against a defendant who cannot be charged with the declaration by not trying all of the co-conspirators in a single trial. It is no answer to suggest that here the petitioner defendant's guilt is amply demonstrated by the uninfected testimony against him. That is the best of reasons for trying him, freed from the inevitable fairness of being affected by testimony not admissible against him. In any event, it is not for the appellate tribunal to know how the jury's mind would have operated if powerfully improper evidence had not in effect been put in the scale against the petitioner. Okay. Go ahead and do some Q&A. And it looks like the court's going to start out. But let's see who's questioning. Plaintiff is questioning. Okay, we'll start at 180, but we'll work our way to 225. And then, yeah, defense jumps in as well. We'll do a little bit of questioning. All right, here we go. All right, is this your witness? Yes, Your Honor, this is one of my witnesses. All right. The other witnesses haven't arrived as yet. Will you please state your name and address for the record, sir? My name is Peter Townsend, Townsend. My address is 7809 Del Mar Road, El Paso, Texas. Okay, thank you. Mr. Townsend, what is your present occupation? I am a deputy sergeant. Sir, how long have you been a deputy sergeant? Let's see, for approximately 10 years. In the last 1 year, have you had any occasion to see, in the course of your duties as a deputy sergeant, the defendant, Daniel Elmore? Yes, I have. And will you tell us where you have seen Mr. Elmore and under what circumstances? Yes, in the last year, I have seen or been assigned duty at the main jail facility in the downtown El Paso. What has your contact been with Mr. Elmore? I have had contact with Mr. Elmore through my work at the main jail facility. And then when I work in the minimum security area where he is housed, I see him on a daily basis. I have had conversations with him. Will you explain what the minimum security area is in the jail? Sure. The minimum security area in the jail is basically made up of 4 sections. Sections A, B, C, and D. Section C is where Mr. Elmore is housed. It has dorm areas where you will find anywhere from usually 10 to 16 inmates in a dorm. There is a rec room for every 40 to 60 inmates. There is a special area for the trustees. Okay, thank you very much. Continue. So Mr. Elmore was housed in Section C? Yes, he was. Is he currently housed there? Yes, that's my understanding. Okay, and are you still in Section C? Yes, I am, but I do move all around the jail. The deputies and the guards are assigned to various decks on an alternating 3-day basis to make sure our job doesn't get strictly routine. So I may work in Section C once a week, and then again, I may not work in it for a week. The change helps the jail personnel to keep on top of things. Okay, in the course of your work, have you had occasion to talk to Daniel Elmore? Yes, I have. And what did you talk about? Oh, just real general things, sports, weather, etc. Sometimes we talk about what's happening in the jail, what's happening today, how are you doing, this type of thing. Just real casual conversation for the most part. Okay, did he ever talk to you about his family? I don't remember. Okay, you don't recall. Did you ever have any problems with Mr. Elmore while he was in jail? I personally never had any problems with Mr. Elmore at all. Well, have you found him to be cooperative, respectful, or dutiful, or what? In my experience in working in the jail and having had contact with Mr. Elmore, I have had no real problems. He has also always done everything that I have asked him to do. Okay, has he done it willingly or has he exhibited any hostility? He has always helped me willingly. Do you know an inmate or did you know an inmate by the name of Thomas Porter? Yes, I did know Mr. Porter. Okay, and was Mr. Porter housed in the same dormitory with Mr. Elmore? Yes, he was. Did Mr. Elmore try to help Thomas Porter? What do you mean by help? Well, did Mr. Elmore exhibit concern and respect when dealing with Thomas Porter? Yes, it's my understanding that in observing them that they had a pretty strong relationship as far as respect and caring for each other. Okay, was it a brother type relationship? Well, yes, there would be respect, caring, and concern, that type of relationship. Do you know whether or not Daniel Elmore kept in touch with his family? I don't have any knowledge about that. Did he talk to you about his children, his wife, anything like that? I don't recall. Can you think of anything else that you can say on behalf of Mr. Elmore? No, I can't. Okay, thank you. No further questions at this time. I take it Mr. Elmore has been in a minimum security area of Section C all of this time? Yes, ma'am. He is in one of those areas of the prison which, in terms of the jail security, has minimum restrictions placed upon the behavior of the prisoners upon which what they can do. Is that right? That is right. I have nothing further, Your Honor. Redirect examination? Yes. Do you know a person by the name of Albert Egan? Yes, I do. Have you seen him, Mr. Egan, visiting with Mr. Elmore? Yes, I have on several occasions. Did Mr. Elmore ever mention the Bible to you or anything of a religious nature? No. Did you ever see Mr. Elmore reading the Bible? On occasion, I have seen him reading the Bible, yes. All right. Switching transcripts. Looks like plaintiff is questioning. There we go. I'm going to start at 200. I'll work my way to 225. Are you familiar with the Sensible Way to Enjoy Your Pool booklet? Yes. And in the middle of that book, the middle 2 pages, do you remember seeing diagrams and that type that talks about the concept called steering up? I am familiar with the concept of steering up, yes. From your recollection, having seen the diagram in the middle of the Sensible Way book, can you tell me whether the dive that is shown in that diagram is a deep dive or a shallow dive? I don't recall specifically. Have you seen this little pamphlet? This black and white copy of NSPI's production 2013 copyright, knowing how to dive is as important as learning how to swim. It is 2 pages long. I think the original form was 4 pages. I have seen this before, yes. Does the diagram that you are looking at, would that be page 2 of this document? Is that basically the same diagram that you recall seeing in the sensible way? I don't remember specifically the diagram in the other booklet. Let me ask you, in the booklet that you have in front of you, knowing how to dive, the dive that is depicted on page 2 there, is that a shallow dive or a deep dive? Appearance of a shallow dive. What is your understanding of what the purpose of steering is? Why do you want to learn how to steer up so that you don't hit the bottom? And what depth of water is the steering aimed for? In other words, if you know how to steer up properly the way they show you in this booklet and the Sensible Way booklet, what depth of water could you safely dive into? Again, I want to object to asking this witness questions that are better directed to experts. This man is concerned with the financial aspects of the company and the duties to which he has testified to. He is not an expert on the required water depth for a safe dive. I am going to instruct him not to answer. Okay, I think as an experienced swimmer, he is certainly qualified to testify to water depth and what depths are safe to dive into. Well, you could pull in the janitors from Hoffinger Industries and or the secretaries and ask them all of their experience with the reference to their own swimming pools or their experience in diving, but it doesn't have any relevance to this case. This witness is a treasurer of Hoffinger Industries. He is not somebody here to tell you about how you dive or what he did in his swimming pool. That isn't relevant to this case, and it could never be relevant. Okay, are you aware that since 2015, Hoffinger has been putting the Sensible Way booklet out with all of its pool packages? I think so. I don't recall the specific year that we added that. You will stipulate that today Hoffinger is doing that? Yes. Why? In an effort to better educate consumers to properly use the product. And steering up is part of learning how to properly use the products, right? Our instructions are that this is a swimming and wading pool. It is not a diving pool. Then why do you show people how to steer up, which is a diving maneuver, to help them protect themselves? From what? I mean, if they don't dive, they don't get hurt. We already discussed that. Why do you show these people? Not everybody follows every sign that has ever been put up. Are you saying that you know that some people are going to go ahead and dive anyway? There will always be the risk takers. We have to stop out there, and we have a stop sign out there and a traffic signal out there. The police are always busy writing tickets for people going through stop signs and traffic signals. There are always going to be risk takers out there. Okay, so you are not supposed to be an expert on what a risk taker is. I move that it all be stricken. You know that some people are going to dive even though you put the signs up not to dive. The next best thing is to teach them how to dive. We don't purport to be experts in diving. Why do you put the steering up thing out there with your above ground pools when you say that it doesn't apply to your above ground pools? That is all that I want to know. I said that we don't purport to be experts in diving. So why do you show the people how to dive by putting out a booklet with your pools that shows them how to dive? I want to object to this line of questioning. I don't think you have shown this witness has particular knowledge as to why this particular book was included in 2015. The fact that it was included in 2015, 3 years after the pool in this case was sold, indicates it has no relevance. That is not true, counsel. The copyright date is 2013 and 2012, very easily retrofitted to these pools, just like Esther Williams. And certainly if your client has seen it and read it, this accident would not have happened. I don't believe the client owned the pool. If the owner had the booklet and it was there to read, I don't think your client could have been any better informed of the dangers in diving into that pool than he actually was. Well, that is for the jury to decide. That's right. I am just explaining why it is relevant. It is relevant because the information was available and could have been put out with this pool before the accident. You have not established an adequate foundation to ask this witness why this book was included in the package and sent to consumers in 2015. Are you telling him not to answer that question, counsel? Go ahead. If you can establish the foundation, go ahead and ask it. All I want to know is why does Doughboy put with all of their pools a booklet that shows you how to dive? It doesn't make sense to me, and I would just like to know why. I don't know. Who would know? I suspect the people that made the decision to include it. Who would that be at Doughboy? Well, let's see. We have got the marketing people, the engineering people. Would you give me names so I can ask these people? Mr. Johnson, Chuck Johnson, he heads up the engineering function. Do you think that he participated in the decision to include the sensible way? I don't remember. I don't know. Who else do you think might have participated in the decision? The marketing people. Who in marketing? That would be Mr. Dave Gottschall, I believe. Anybody else? Mr. Nelson. Okay, is there anybody else? I suspect that there was some others, but I don't know. Those are the principals. Nobody from your department? Not from my department. What about Vern Reuter? Would he be consulted in those type of decisions? I am talking about before he became ill. He may have been. Anybody else? I don't know. Do you have any idea what the background or origin is of this engineering or this steering up maneuver? Do you know whose idea it was, where it came from, what research was put into it, or anything like that? No, I do not. Do you know whether it works or not? Steering up? Yes, sure it does. How do you know it works? Because I have steered up. I am sorry, I have steered up before. You have steered up. Sounds like a good foundation. When you steer up and you do it the way you believe you should do it, how shallow of water would you do it in? What would be the most shallow water you would do it in? Again, you are asking this witness potential opinions about what he would or would not do. This is not relevant for this case. He is not a witness that has a light to shed on the expert opinion as to how much water you need to do any particular diving maneuver. He is not purporting to be an expert on diving. What he does or doesn't do on any individual occasion is totally irrelevant to this case. I'm going to instruct him not to answer. Unfortunately, that is true from every witness that is from Doughboy. None of them are experts on diving, and none of them are an expert on anything. You can argue that to the jury all you want to. I can understand your objection, but not in this deposition. I can tell you that. Have you read the Stone Studies? No. Do you know what the Stone Studies are? Arthur D. Little Stone Studies? I recollect that they had something to do with the diving. I have not read them. How are we doing on time? Perfect. I'm going to switch transcripts one more time. All right. Now this one is a new transcript, and it deals with pesticides. So I'm not sure if we'll get to it, but if we do, you're going to hear tibuthaluron. Let me say that again. Let me say that again. It's a short I. I looked it up. Tibuthaluron. And it's spelled Tebuthiuron. Tibuthaluron. And I looked that up. So it's a type of pesticide, tibuthaluron. Then we've got Fluoridone. Fluoridone, Fluoridone. We've got phytotoxicity, Phytoxicity. Then we just have toxicity. Epidemiology, vacuolar, acinar, ACINAR, acinar. Let's see, there's one more I saw. Oh, we've got buthidazoline, and then buthidazoline. But I think today we're probably just going to get to buthidazoline, Butidazole, buthidazoline. These are all pesticides, okay? This guy's suing because of the pesticides that it did to his daughter, or the effects from it, okay? All right, so we did start this, but we didn't get into any of those words yet. So we're going to pick up from, we're going to hear some of those words today. Okay. All right, let's see. And it looks like defense is questioning. So I'm going to start at 200, okay? All right, here we go. Mr. Data Boy, did you complete 4 years of college in Washington? Yes. What was the name of the university? Washington State University. And what was your major? English and math. English and math? Uh-huh. You received a degree, didn't you? Yes. Were you attending a university when you were working for your father's import-export business? Right. What kind of product did your father import and export? Paper, stationaries, hardware, any pesticides or herbicides? No. Any more questions? Go ahead. Okay, thank you, counsel. Yes, I do have more questions. The next article I have for an exhibit is an article by Todd and Griffin of Lilly Research Laboratories regarding tebuteron. Go ahead. Okay, it is, for the record, it should be noted that Exhibit Y is incomplete. Okay, do you want me to go ahead? Sure, I just wanted to note that on the record. Okay, the next exhibit that I have is a 3-page exhibit. The first page deals with chemical makeup of tebuteron, and the last 2 pages direct themselves to a product called Grow Safe Activated Charcoal. Are we on Z, counsel? Yes, we are. We have marked the next in line as Exhibit Z. Have you seen that article before, Mr. Data Boy? Yes, I have. And when did you first see that article? 2013. Do it this way. Okay, there is more than one article included in there. The first page, when did you see that first page? I don't remember the date, but sometime in 2013. Directing your attention to the second page, when did you last see that? Have you ever reviewed the second page of the document before? I may or may not have, I do not know, but I have seen all of this paperwork because most of them is being seen in his office when I go for a consulting or consultation, which with regard to this case. Okay, Mr. Data Boy, when was the first occasion that you heard of the term Grow Safe? What? When was the first occasion that you heard of a product by the name of Grow Safe? Sometime when I was talking with Mr. Atkinson. In the beginning of the case? Yes. Would it be between the first and second storm? No, later. Between the second and third storm? Yeah, third maybe. Around, I don't remember the dates and the year, but I have heard a lot of things about this kind of spike and different kind of chemicals, what they used on it. I just can't remember going through this paper. I mean, there were 200, 300, 400 documents up there. And every time when I visit his office, I see some kind of papers come up, flyers come up, and I just go through and there's not much that I discussed with him all in detail. But okay, do you know if those documents were ever proposed to the landscaper? No. Do you know if it was ever proposed or it wasn't proposed? It wasn't proposed. Getting back to Exhibit Z, did you have a chance to read that or did you not have a chance to read that? I read it, but I don't remember what the contents of it right now are if you asked me. So you do have a recollection of reading it? Yes, I do. Right. Yes. Okay. Are we on Z, counsel? Yes. The next document that is here is one pertaining to the absorption of buvidal, VEL 3510, and tebuteron and fluoridin by Organic Matter, written by J.B. Weber. Thank you very much. Now, this has been marked as Exhibit AA. I have handed it to the witness. Mr. Data Boy, have you seen that article before? Yes, I have. When did you first see that? In his office sometime. I don't remember the date. Do you recall what year? It was maybe in 2013 or 2014. And by his office, are you referring to your attorney's office? Right, my attorney. Did you read the article? Not thoroughly, but I just went through it. I may have asked what it was all about, and he just said it's a report trying to get all of the information from blah, 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 blah. So you discussed it with your lawyer? Well, discussing it is not necessary because I can't discuss anything because he is acting on behalf of me. So I didn't discuss much about this. I may have gone through this Exhibit AA. You're testifying that you have not discussed this with your lawyer? No, I may have. I don't remember. But you see, all of these articles, I just go in and I ask what this is. What is this about? I know he is acting on behalf of me. Why should I bother for unnecessary questions and things like that? I don't feel good to ask him a question about something like that or what should be discussed. The next article is one concerning the uptake of phototoxicity of tebuteron, written by Steinhardt and Streitz. Okay, thank you. I'm going to hand the exhibit CC to Mr. Data Boy. Have you seen that article before? Yes, I have. When did you first see the article? It was in 2014. 2014. Did you read that article? Maybe, I don't remember. You don't recall having read that article? I do not. Did you discuss it with your attorney? Yes, I did. Do you recall the substance of that discussion? No, I do not. What is next, counsel? The next is a group of documents which the first of which pertains to the summary of animal toxicity or toxicology studies by Lilly Toxicology Laboratories 2012, and I believe submitted to the state of California pertaining to spike or tabutheron. Okay, and that is, yes, I have read that one. Okay, so you have read those. Most of them, yes. Okay, do you recall which ones you haven't read? No, I do not. Okay, you are handing me a sheet of paper. It's marked up in the left-hand corner, 77-0057-61, epidemiology, prevention, and treatment. Is there anything else in there that you haven't seen before? No, that's the only one. Okay, so you've seen all of the others before? Yes, I have. Do you recall when you have seen the other articles? I don't know the exact date, no. Do you have a year? Yes, in 2013, end of 2013. Okay, did you see all of these at once like they were handed to you? No, not all of them at one time. Okay, so you saw them separately. Yes, and a couple of visits to his office, you know. But you did see all of them in the year 2013? Yes, I did. Have you had a chance to read them? Well, I may have read them, but I don't recall. But I do know if I go through one, I can tell you if I have or not. Okay, which ones have you read and which ones you haven't read? I have read most of them, all of them probably. Okay, but you don't really recall? No. Did you discuss them with your lawyer again? I may have. You don't recall discussing these with your attorney? I don't remember. When you call it discussing, what do you mean by discussing? Well, it would mean in your mind, yes. When do you use the word discuss? When you said discussion, you must have some particular that you and Mr. Atkinson had a conversation regarding all of these articles. That's what I mean by discuss. Well, we didn't go through each of the articles. We just go through, when we go through his office saying we have some information from such and such place, and this is what it's regarding to, this spike that they have thrown, what the things they have come up with, and what can affect you and things like that. We never go in one particular item and discuss that, what that means and what this means, because I don't. Would your attorney indicate to you that some of the new information has come in? That's right, yes. You would discuss that? I don't discuss of what the new information is. He said, this is what I have on this, and we will discuss it. Did that happen each time? Most every time, yes. So like I said, I don't go for one particular case. What that means, no. Okay, was this material generally laying around in his lobby for you to read? Oh no, he presented it to me when I would visit his office. Would he present you with articles each time you went? Yes. How many times did you visit his office? Many times. More than 25? Maybe. More than 50? No, not that. Between 25 and 50? 25 and sometimes. Did you usually go by yourself? Yes. Your wife didn't go with you? Once in a while. Were other people involved in the Windward Holmes lawsuit with you during your visits to Mr. Atkinson's office? Only my family. None of the other plaintiffs? No, there's not other people. There are 5 of us living there. Keith, are you finished? I have a few more questions. Can I approach the witness, Richard? Sure, go ahead. Mr. Databoy, of the exhibits that are indicated as DD, the first one of which is entitled Summary of Animal Toxicology Studies, that is one of the articles that you recall reading? Yes, it is. You recall reading that sometime in 2012? Yes. Let me show you. I'd like you to read that paragraph that's found on that page. Okay, it says, Special Subacute Rat Toxicology Study. A special study was initiated in rats to evaluate the reproducing and reversibility of the pancreatic lesions produced in the high-dose groups. Leave out the math if you want to. Okay, rats in a previous subacute study by means of light and electron microscopy, we demonstrated the vascular changes in the acinar cells of the pancreas developed rapidly within the 2 weeks when, is that a lengthy paragraph? This is a testing of my English, I guess, and the pancreatic lesions, which was completely reversible within a similar period of time after the withdrawal of the test compounds. Now, after you initially read that article and it indicated that the lesions in the pancreatic tissues were reversed within the same period of time as the exposure, did that relieve any anxiety you might have possessed with respect to the exposure to the dust storms in 2012? Maybe, I don't recall. Is this another document that was given to you on one of your visits to your attorney's office? Yes, it was. Do you recall discussing it with your attorney? I don't know. I don't remember. Council, the next group of documents I have, it would be easier, I think, for us to, even if we duplicate them along the way, that's up to you to decide. I'll give it to you. The top one is a letter dated October 12th from Chino Valley or Chino Unified School District to the City of Ontario. Then a letter dated October 14, 2012 from Mr. Searson, and a letter dated October 19 from the City of Ontario. A letter from Consumers Oil dated October 20, 2012. A letter from Chino Valley, Chino Unified School District. That's okay. They are fastened together. Okay, we'll just go with that. All right, sounds good. This has been marked Exhibit FF. I'm going to hand the witness this and ask if he can thumb through that and tell me what he has seen in the stack of documents. Yes, I have seen these documents in this office. Again, on one of your visits to your attorney's office, yes. At the time you saw them, when was the first time you saw those documents? Sometime in 2013. Were they attached together like that? No. Were they individual? Individual. With that in mind, have you seen all of the individual documents in that stack before? I don't remember, but I've seen all of them. Whether I have seen all of them at one time, I don't recall my memory whether I have or not. But you have seen all of them. I don't know. Okay, so you may not have, I may not have. Which pages haven't you seen before? I have seen the front page, the second page, the third page addressed to Windward Homes, City of Ontario. Are you saying that you have or you have not? I have seen this, yes. There are 22 pages there. Tell me which pages you haven't seen before. Page 2, page 3, sorry, page 4. No, the rest I haven't seen. The rest you haven't seen. No, I may have, but I don't recall. I don't think I have. That would be pages 4 through 22. So you have seen just pages 1 and 3. Thank you. Were pages 1 and 3 items which were, once again, brought to your attention on the visits to your lawyer's office? Correct. You read them at that time? Correct. Again, did you discuss with them with your attorney at that time? I don't remember whether I discussed, but I've seen the papers. I will hand you a bound document called Recognition and Management of Pesticide Poisonings. To my knowledge, I have shown that to Mr. Databoy. None of the rest of this? No, sir, just the one page. Okay, Mr. Databoy, I'm handing you Exhibit GG and holding it up to page 82. I will ask you if you recall seeing that article before. I don't recall this, no. You don't recall seeing that book before? I may have, but I don't know whether I have or not. He may have given me that at one time. We're getting closer here. I'm trying to figure out what I've shown him and what he hasn't. This is a letter directed to Paula Weiss. Let me just give these to you and you can identify these are the documents I believe I've shown to him. Is there anything else? Are you continuing to thumb through? Well, I'm continuing to try to figure out what he has seen. I've briefly shown him the pictures. He may have given me some of these pictures himself, and I think that's all I have, except for what is in his file relating to this. Okay, now take a minute and glance through the entire stack and tell me if you have or have not seen any of the materials in there before. No, I don't recall. None of these? You have no recollection of seeing any of the materials in Exhibit II? I might have, but I don't recall that I have read those. Okay, Exhibit JJ is a stack of letters, the first of which is an inter-office memo on County of San Bernardino letterhead dated April 7, 2012. Thank you. Mr. Databoy, would you take a look at the materials in this exhibit and tell me if you recall having seen those before? No. Have you looked through the entire stack? Yes. Okay, so we'll do one page read back. And I did a lot of that at 225, most of it, I would say. Okay. All right. See if she got back to me. Shoot, I don't think. She's visiting a friend today. She's actually down for spring break and visiting a friend, and she lives kind of in the hills, and I know her service is hit and miss up there, so that's probably why. So, all right, let's go ahead and do a one-page Q&A read back. And this is going to be defense. So first time at 225, then 200, and then 180. Here we go. And regarding this aspect of assisting disabled motorists, did you have some kind of booklet to guide you in how to perform these functions? No, I did not. And from where did you get your instructions on how to perform your duties in assisting disabled motorists? Most of it comes after you come out of the academy. You ride with another officer for 30 working days. On the date in question, had you just come out of the academy? No. Is there any reason why you were riding with this officer? Yes. What was the reason? On graveyard shift, you ride 2 men in a car. Is that policy? Yes, it is. What time does the graveyard shift start? At 10 p.m. Then am I correct in assuming that your education and training in the duty of assisting, I just remembered, I don't think I dated this. Let me see. I might have, oh yeah, we did this one. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I didn't date it. I can't give you the same one. That's kind of like cheating. Okay, this is plaintiff. Let's scratch that. Redo. I'm reading going, wait, we've done this one. Usually I just flip the page and go to the next one because this is like a 2-page Q&A, the whole book, so it's perfect for read back. All right, here we go. How long were you and your husband in the dentist's office? Approximately 15 minutes. What time was that? What time was your appointment with the doctor? Oh, close to 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Where had you been prior to getting to the dentist office? Home? Both of you? Yes, well, he just came home from work, and then we got in the car and went to the dentist office. Had you or your husband had any intoxicating beverages that you know of that particular day? No. What kind of car does your husband have? He had a Honda Accord. And where did he park this car prior to going to the dentist office? He parked it by the curb facing north on Lincoln Boulevard. Were there any other cars parked there at the time? I don't remember. Now, what time do you think you left the dentist office? Well, it was between 5:30 and 6. I'm not sure. Was it light out at the time? It was dusk. Could you still see objects such as cars and houses without any artificial lighting? I don't remember. As you left the dentist office, what did you and your husband do? Well, we went and I got in the car. Was the car parked south of the dentist office or north of the dentist office? South of the dentist office. Approximately how many feet from the dentist office? I don't know for sure. Was it a considerable distance or a short distance? Short distance. Were there any other cars parked along the curb there when you came back? I don't remember. All right. Make a note here so I know we read this back. All right. Let's do it again at 200. How long were you and your husband in the dentist office? Approximately 15 minutes. What time was that? What time was your appointment with the doctor? Oh, close to 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Where had you been prior to going to the dentist office? Home? Both of you? Yes, well, he just came home from work, and then we got in the car and went to the dentist office. Had you or your husband had any intoxicating beverages that you know of that particular day? No. What kind of car does your husband have? He had a Honda Accord. And where did he park this car prior to going to the dentist office? He parked it by the curb facing north on Lincoln Boulevard. Were there any other cars parked there at the time? I don't remember. Now, what time do you think you left the dentist office? Well, it was between 5:30 and 6. I'm not sure. Was it light out at the time? It was dusk. Could you still see objects such as cars and houses without any artificial lighting? I don't remember. As you left the dentist office, what did you and your husband do? Well, we went and I got in the car. Was the car parked south of the dentist office or north of the dentist office? South of the dentist office. Approximately how many feet from the dentist office? I don't know for sure. Was it a considerable distance or a short distance? Short distance. Were there any other cars parked along the curb there when you came back? I don't remember. All right. Let's do this again at 180. Here we go. How long were you and your husband in the dentist office? Approximately 15 minutes. What time was that? What time was your appointment with the doctor? Oh, close to 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Where had you been prior to going to the dentist office? Home? Both of you? Yes, well, he just came home from work and then we got in the car and went to the dentist office. Had you or your husband had any intoxicating beverages that you know of that particular day? No. What kind of car does your husband have? He had a Honda Accord. And where did he park this car prior to going to the dentist office? He parked it by the curb facing north on Lincoln Boulevard. Were there any other cars parked there at the time? I don't remember. Now, what time do you think you left the dentist office? Well, it was between 5:30 and 6. I'm not sure. Was it light out at the time? It was dusk. Could you still see objects such as cars and houses without any artificial lighting? I don't remember. As you left the dentist office, what did you and your husband do? Well, we went and I got in the car. Was the car parked south of the dentist office or north of the dentist office? South of the dentist office. Approximately how many feet from the dentist office? I don't know for sure. Was it a considerable distance or a short distance? Short distance. Were there any other cars parked along the curb there when you came back? I don't remember. All right. So let's see. All right, so I'll go ahead and start. You let me know when you find your spot.
All right.
You're gonna try the 225?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can.
Probably not as bad as you think it is.
I don't know about that. Okay. I'll try it.
Okay.
I don't think I can. Well, one. All right.
All right. That's okay. If you need help, let me know. Okay. Question. How long were you and your husband in the dentist office? Answer, approximately 15 minutes.
Question, what time was that? What time was your appointment with the doctor? Answer, oh, close to 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
Question, where had you been prior to going to the dentist office? Answer, home.
Question, both of you? Answer, yes. Well, he just came home from work and then we got in the car and went to the dentist's office.
Question, had you or your husband had any intoxicating beverages that you know of that particular day? Answer, no.
Question, what kind of car does your husband have? Answer, he had a Honda Accord.
Question, and where did he park this car prior to going to the dentist office? Answer, he parked it by the curb facing north on Lincoln Boulevard.
Question, we're there. And then I dropped.
That's okay. Were there any other cars parked there at the time?
Oh, that was 8 words I dropped. Yikes. Answer, I don't remember.
All right. Question, now what time do you think you left the dentist office? Answer, well, it was between 5:30 and 6. I'm not sure.
Question, was was light on at the time? I don't know.
Oh, it's close. Was it light out
Oh,
at the time? Perfect.
answer, it was dusk.
Question, could you still see objects such as cars and houses without any artificial lighting? Answer, I don't remember.
Question, as you left the dentist's office, what did you and your husband do? Answer, well, we went and I got in the car.
Question, was the car parked south of the dentist office or north of the dentist office? Answer, south of the dentist office.
Question, approximately how many feet from the dentist's office? Answer, I don't know for sure.
Question, was it a considerable distance or a short distance? Answer, short distance.
Question, I dropped something when, or something came back.
Okay, that's okay. Do you have, were there any other cars parked along the curb there? And then what you said, when you came back?
When you came back. Answer, no, I don't have any of that, but answer, I don't remember.
Perfect. That's okay though. It's good when you read that high speed because you kind of get to, like, even if it's sloppy, you're learning how to read through that, you know, because as long as you can figure it out when you go to transcribe it on the test, it's all that matters, you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to work on like mental stuff right now, just not giving up.
Yeah.
Sometimes like when it gets fast, or for me, like I want to shut down, and like I'm working on how to push through
Good.
that feeling of like wanting to like freak out, you know.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So, but it's hard. I'm trying to figure out like what do I do? What do I focus on? Like, you know, what do I do to calm myself down? I'm having a hard time right now with that at the speed at 220. It's like such a big difference. At 200, I'm like fine, but
Yeah.
225 is like, so it's like got to be mental. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just that speed where you have to just not even think about it. You know, you're on like autopilot.
Yeah, and I don't I don't know. I've been working on like, I know accuracy like leads to speed. That's what they say. And so I've been like working on really fixing my mistakes and trying to make sure I'm stroking things perfectly at the lower speeds, and like just sitting there doing drills. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting in the zone. Like,
Yeah.
but
You will though. All of a sudden one day it's just going to click and you're going to get, I remember when it clicked for me for 225, it was like, whoa, I didn't even realize it till I went to, you know, read back my notes. It was like, whoa, it's there. I couldn't believe it, you know?
what happened when I attempted the test is kind of what's happening now. So I really am glad I'm seeing it, which is just, I get flustered, and then it's like I can't connect anymore with the words that I'm hearing. It's like it almost becomes like an out of body kind of experience. I don't know, like I can't latch on. That's how I would
Yeah.
describe it. Like I'm just like a bystander, and it's
Yeah.
happening around me. So
Yeah.
I don't know how to like focus in on, I mean, I know how maybe, but I need to work on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Just
don't
keep
know.
practicing and it's just one day it's going to click for you, you know? It
Do
will.
you have,
And just tell yourself, like, if you drop a word or you come across a difficult word, just tell yourself, keep going. You know, don't let that throw your whole rhythm off because you misstroked one word
yeah,
or a couple words, you know? You just keep going.
yeah, yeah,
Like I remember I had on my, I would post little sticky notes that would say, keep going, you know, just, you know, meaning for that. If I came across a difficult word or a, you know, or if I felt like I dropped a word, it's like, just keep going. It's okay. That doesn't, just because I dropped a word or I didn't write a word right, doesn't mean I've bombed the whole thing.
yeah. That's, yeah, I need to have little things. My aunt, when she was in high speeds, she actually went to she went and did hypnosis, which they basically just taught her like techniques. It's not like, somebody with a
Right.
watch going, you're getting sleepy, they taught her to like imagine that like there's two people inside of her, like one, and it was a baseball analogy, like one was the baseball player and one was the coach, like third base coach or whatever. And so one's performing or running around the bases and the other one is like going, go, go, like go, 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 like, and she said that like worked for her. So she like, whenever she like is falling behind or makes a mistake, she's got like, she's got the player in her head who's going, and then she's got the coach going, go, 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 go.
You can keep going, keep going. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
So, and then she like passed within like a couple weeks of doing that. It was like really fast. She had been like, she got from like 180 to like 225 in like 3 months after that, or like when that happened or something. So she like, and she had been like not struggling, but it had been a while and she was getting frustrated. So I don't know. I need to find
this hypnosis, did he or she focus on court reporters or court reporting students? Like, is that kind of, because I know there are people out there I've heard they kind of focus on that.
I don't think so, but I think they specialized in like all kinds of performance based kind of jobs, like athletes, musicians, stuff like that. So I think
it pertains to that then.
Yeah. So I think I remember her maybe mentioning that. So,
and did she physically go in the office, or can you, like, is it somewhere by you?
Oh, I mean, this was like in the early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. That was like when she was still in school. So, and that was in California somewhere. I don't know where, but I have a book that I'm just starting called Switch on Your Brain, and I'm really interested to read it. It's I don't know if you've heard of her. Her name is Dr. Caroline Leaf. It's a faith-based. She's a Christian.
Okay.
So it's definitely faith-based, but it's about, wait, here it is. I'm just starting it. I read another book of hers and it was so awesome. This is it.
Oh, wow.
It's Switch on Your Brain, the key to peak happiness, thinking, and health.
Ooh.
And it's about like, there's a workbook that goes with it too.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like she calls it a brain detox, 21-day brain detox.
Ooh.
And
I like that.
I read a book about, she has a book about food, like how to approach food and stuff like that. And it was really, really good. And so I got this one and I'm really excited to read it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look into that.
It's, she's a neuroscientist, but she has like, I don't know, if it would appeal to you, but there's like scripture in here too. So it's like, it's scientific, and also she shows how it ties in with scripture. I really like it. So it's a lot of information, but I'm just starting it. I just like that she has like the information and then she has like how to apply it practically, and then she has the workbook and stuff, and
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. Thank you.
When I read her other book, which was about food, like I got in a really good place mentally, and I've kind of like not been doing what I should be doing lately with my journaling and stuff. And then of course I like haven't been doing as well, but I was just so positive after I read her other book. Like I was just like so positive. And so that's why I want to read this one too.
Yeah.
So it's just all about how we think and our toxic thoughts
Yep.
and yeah.
Switch on your brain.
Switch on your brain.
Okay. I'm gonna definitely look into that. That sounds like I love good books.
Yeah, it's just
Especially,
because I had so much success with her other book.
yeah.
Like I feel like this will be good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was gonna say after I read her other book, even though it wasn't like it was geared more towards how you eat and think about food and stuff, even still, right after that is when I passed my jury charge.
Wow.
Because I was like doing journaling and thinking about my thoughts and all of that, and it was good. So
Yeah.
I need to get my mind right.
Yeah. I know, because positive thoughts are just so, you know, so important. And if you know, if you have those negative thoughts coming in, it affects your performance, or doubts, self-doubting. And
Yeah, I think I'm just like, and it is affecting me. Like I'm just so, I mean, the word is almost like desperate. Like I'm desperate to work, you
yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
I'm just like so at that point where I just so want it. And it's hard not to let that
Yeah.
overcome my emotions sometimes, like, cause I want it so much. And then I'll just freeze up like, come on, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Because you're
I just
so
need to
close.
relax.
You know you are. Are you a part of
Yeah.
that Facebook encouraging court reporting students? You
Yeah.
might want to ask on there, like, um, does anybody know of a hypnosis that deals with, you know, court reporting? And I'm sure that, you know, since your aunt did it so long ago, I mean, who knows if that person's still around, but you might get some feedback on that.
Yeah.
Maybe they have
I
like
think
online, you know.
Yeah, I saw something a while ago that I think, I don't know if it was geared towards court reporters, but I think a court reporter had said this is one of the best ones they found. I'll have to look back and find it. But I'll check. You can search in those groups too on Facebook. Someone probably, I'm sure, has
Yep.
talked about it already. I can just look and see.
I know that I remember hearing students at Sage talking about that. Like, oh, we went to you know, students that were like in qualifying so close, and they would go, and most of them had success, but I just can't
Yeah,
remember what one they used, you know, but they all,
yeah.
like, they all use the same one.
Sometimes I'm like, do I not have a good foundation? Like I question my foundation. Like I feel really good. I write okay, sorry. I know maybe I shouldn't. The mid speeds, like I'm writing real time. Like I can, and it doesn't matter. I don't think about that, but I am. So, and then 180, I'm pretty good. 200 is a little, you know, I can read my notes for sure, but it's not always clean. Like it doesn't come up. But 225 is just like, so I start to question, like, well, how come I can write? Like my fingers just go like crazy. Like it's like I'm writing garbage at 225 almost. And I'm like, well, if I'm accurate at 180 to even 200, why am I losing that accuracy so much at 225?
It's just because you haven't mastered that speed yet. That's why. But don't,
Really?
yes, and don't, you know, don't lose confidence in your foundation, because it's gotten you this far for a reason, you know. It's just because you haven't mastered it yet. It's like any other speed where it's like maybe you'll have a good day and you do get it, and then maybe the next day you don't, or if it's easier material, you're getting it. It's like with any other speed. That's why you can write, you know, like you said, you're writing real time in 180, but it hasn't happened yet in 200 or 225 because you haven't mastered it yet, you know. Like usually you know, I think back on when I was in school, if I passed a test, it usually was a good test, and meaning it was very fair, but it didn't mean that I could actually get the hard material yet. And then I would go into the next speed, and then it was like, okay, that previous speed, I could get that, even the hard material, and write it at real time. It's almost like just because you get to that peak doesn't mean you've mastered it. It just means, you know, and you still want to give yourself credit because you're getting it, but it doesn't mean you can write everything in that speed yet, if that makes sense. So you're at that last speed where, you know, I'm sure you can get, if it was a car accident, you probably are going to get it. But if it's something a little bit more dense, you may not. But I just read an article. Gosh, it was such a good article. It was in the NCRA magazine, and it was about this reporter that beats herself up, and she's constantly adding other theories to her writing. And the president of the NCRA told her, I think it's called Chasing Rabbits. And she said, don't change your writing. I mean, you can build on it, but don't change it to other theories, because then what was happening is she was completely losing everything that she had. Here she is a working reporter in court, and she reached out to this gal and said, oh my gosh, like my writing right now is horrible. And she said, well, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm taking advice from all these people and picking up all these other theories. And she said, you have too many books, you're trying to change too much. Just build on what you have and perfect it. Don't change it. You know, so she said, have confidence in the theory that you started with, because this was a working reporter, you know, but she felt like she was taking steps back, not forward. But the whole point was you're trying to change too much. You don't change your theory, you build from it. So I thought that was good, because, you know, she said basically this reporter was in the same boat as a student that was saying, you know, I'm trying to learn all these briefs from, oh gosh, what is that? That brief book. And she said, you can't just go through a brief book and start just going page to page. She said, no, you're going to flood your brain with overload. Like, you know what I mean? It's okay to look up a brief if you want to, but you don't start on page 1 and start going down all these briefs. That's never going to happen. So she was trying to give that advice of, you know, you can build, but don't change the whole theory.
Right.
So just just know that you have the foundation. You've gotten to 225 for a reason.
Yeah. I guess like just a simple word, I'll hit it, I'll stroke it perfectly, you know, in 180, 200, but then like I will come up with some weird way of writing it in 225 that it doesn't, like, I'm like, why does that happen? Yeah. Like, is it because I'm not calm? Is it because I'm freaking out a little bit? Or, I mean, maybe that's part of it, but you're right. It's just because I haven't mastered it. And I remember thinking that every time I would move up a speed, like you get into the new speed and you're like, I don't know how to do this anymore, kind of like, oh my gosh.
Every time you get in a new speed, it's like, whoa, here we go again. You know, it's such like a roller coaster, you know, it's like, I mastered it. Oh, now I got to start all over again, you know?
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for it to click. Like you said,
it will.
That'll be a good day.
I'll never forget the day that Tammy told me, like, you passed your 225 test. It's like, what? I couldn't believe it. And then I passed another one, and it was like, whoa, okay, so it's not just a hoax, you know, or just a good day. It was like, and then that's when I passed the state test. Because the first time, I think I told you, I took the 2 flaps, you know, that's when we were on paper notes. We didn't have software. But I flipped to, you know, I was taking my time, and then I didn't have time to go back and proofread. I took my time. I was going too slow. And anyways, but during that time when I was waiting for the state test again, because I passed the academics the first time, but not the machine. And that was when you took both of those all in 2 days. I mean, it was overwhelming, you know, all the academics on one day, machine on the next day, and or vice versa. But during and then you had to wait 6 months to take it again. It wasn't every 3 months. So during that 6 months is when I got out of 225, and then I went into the state test. It was like, okay, just with confidence, like I can do this, you know, like you passing the RPR going into the state test, like I can do this.
Yeah.
So you're going to get it. Just don't get frustrated, and don't, you know, just keep practicing. You're going to get it. You're almost to that last hill, you know?
Yeah. Getting there.
Just envision, I always envision like all these mountains, you know, and it's like you start at 60 and it goes up and down, and you're all the way like climbing up to the last mountain, like Mount Everest, and you're almost to the top, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
I'll just keep plugging along.
Yep.
And I will look into maybe some hypnosis options that might be out there, because I'll do anything I can to.
I never done it, but I was shocked at how many students at Sage did it that were in qualifying and ended up qualifying. And you know, you just wonder, like, is it just is it false? Just, I mean, it just gives you this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know, but people, they swore by it. Like they were like, yep, it worked. So whatever, hey, it's kind of like when you take airborne, my doctor always says, it's all in your head. It's like, I don't know. Every time I feel like I'm getting sick, I take airborne, I get better. He's like, nah, it doesn't. He says it doesn't really work like that, but I don't know. I mean, for me, it works. So it's kind of like hypnosis. If people say it works, then what do you have to lose, you know?
Yeah. Your mind is powerful. And if it believes something enough,
that's right.
It can happen. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Well, you have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks for the pep talk.
Oh, anytime. Anytime you have questions, let me know. And I want to get that book. I like that. So
yeah, I have some time today, so I'm actually gonna read it. I'm probably gonna get through it pretty quickly, but I'm excited to do this 21-day brain detox. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I want to get one of these for my kids, my husband. I mean, everybody could use that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the key to peak happiness, thinking, and health. I mean, why not? We can all use that.
That's right.
So anyways.
All right. You have a great weekend. Have fun. Have fun tomorrow.
You too. Okay. Enjoy your time with, you said your daughter's in town?
Yes, she's here for spring break. She's moving back in June, which I'm so excited about.
Nice. Yay.
I know.
We'll have a great weekend.
Okay, you too. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye.
Bye.